I decided the class to join up with a little bit of tunes at the beginning, a little bit of intro tunes, bump music. Actually, I don't know if it's called bump music if it's at the beginning of the show. I think bump music might only be in between segments. Not sure. Just trying to class to join up just a little bit. Those are by my friends Above Rattlesnakes. You can listen to them over on Spotify. They got DMCA free music, so you can use it to stream your gaming or whatever it is that you do and not have to worry about YouTube coming down with a copyright strike on you. Never cool. Hope you guys are doing good. Thanks to y'all for coming back to another episode of the Fizzness Shizzness podcast. My name is Rob. So, something kind of funny happened. Just this week, I was driving my kid to school, and I don't even know what spurred it. He was asking about all the different schools that I went to whenever I was younger because of the divorcing and the parents not getting along. I was in a lot of different schools very early. So from 6th grade, I switched over to 7th grade to a new school. Same school district, but that's junior high. You're going to a new school. And then I split halfway of 7th grade, went to a different school in another school district. 8th grade was a different school in a new school district. 9th grade was same school district, new school. 10th grade was new school district, new school. And then halfway through 11th, new school district and new school. It was a lot of moving around. His mind was blown. But one of the things he asked me was kind of interesting. He asked if it was hard moving around all those times. And I said, well, yeah, it was hard, but something interesting happened, especially when I was a little bit older, not so much when I was in junior high. I didn't quite get it, but I told him that on that last move, whenever I moved in the middle of my 11th grade year and then finished school down in Oklahoma, Sapulpa, Oklahoma, shout out to Sapulpa, Oklahoma, probably the only podcast out there with a Sapulpa shout out. But whenever I graduated, I went, I was down there, and I told him one of the best things that happened to me about going down there was I went somewhere where nobody knew me so I could start over and be somebody new. And he kind of was like, well, what does that even mean? And I said, people don't expect anything out of you. They don't know who you are. They know nothing about you. So you get to kind of go into these situations like that and be whatever it is you want to be. You get to recreate yourself, a version of yourself maybe that you like better compared to whatever it was you were going through. And it was kind of funny. After I dropped him off, I thought about that pretty hard on my way to the gym, that it's such an easy thing to say, like, well, you can just go somewhere where nobody knows you and be somebody different. And it made me realize that I'd spent a lot of time in my life like being a thing because I was living up to people's reflection of their expectations on me. I was being the thing that people thought that I was more than I was probably actually being myself. A lot of us get stuck trying to be the thing that other people are expecting us to be, and we end up living that life better than the actual person that we're supposed to be. We end up taking on their expectations that they have of ourselves and overriding our own expectations of ourselves. It's crazy. So then all of a sudden you find yourself saying something like, well, I can go somewhere where nobody knows me and I can be somebody totally different. I realized like what I was saying there was actually a pretty big deal, that I'd spent a lot of time being something that was not true to myself, being something that I didn't even like about myself. I felt very sort of like looked down on. I felt very insignificant. And I think what I was doing there was I was reflecting, or I was accepting the thing that people put onto me. The way that they saw me was the way that I started to see myself, and I lived that. I became that. I dove deep. I went deep into being that thing and being good at it because it feels good to be something to somebody, even if that thing sucks. It's way better than being nothing to anybody. I was thinking about the whole thing. Whenever I got down there to Oklahoma, there were still times where people put labels on me, different, making judgment calls, whatever you want to call it. I remember for a while, they used to call me Skater Bob, and I didn't even skate. I mean, I kind of skated, but it was like not good skating. It wasn't good skating at all. But that's what they called me, even whenever I was done skating. I was married, not skating anymore, and people would still call me Skater Bob. And I felt weird if I tried to be something other than that. I remember going to those places where those people would be, and they would call me that, and I'm like, yeah, it's me, Skater Bob. But I didn't do that anymore, and I didn't really even want to be that thing. But it still felt good to be something to those people, because being something was better than being insignificant and a nobody. So I just kind of did that. I think a lot of us get trapped in this idea of like, well, we want to be something different. Why is our lives not changing? Why are we still in the same position? And why are we still the same people now than we were 5 years ago? Well, are you hanging out with the same people you were hanging out with 5 years ago? Are you still in those same social circles as you were 5 years ago? Have you expanded the social circle, your people that you know? Have you done anything different in your environment over the last 5 years? If you're still hanging out with and socializing with and engaging with the same people now as you were 5 years ago, and you haven't expanded your social circle, there's a high probability that the reason that you're in the situation that you're in is because you are living that life that they expect out of you. You have become the thing that they told you that you are more than you are being the thing that you're supposed to be. You end up taking the things that they view about you and incorporating them into like you. You become that thing that they call you. You are the skater Bob. You are the cool guy, the loser, the drug doer. That's not even the right terminology. But you end up absorbing all of that stuff that they are reflecting onto you. And then because you do that, then you put out this expectation from yourself back to them, showing them that you are that thing. And so they never end up expecting more from you or thinking anything else from you because you are now showing them exactly what to expect. They can't expect more from you than you're willing to reflect to them, just the way that it works. It's sad that we have to sometimes go to a completely different place and go to completely different people and cut off our history and our ties in order to be something different. But that's how hard it is to try to find a new path sometimes whenever you are stuck with the same people and in the same circles that you've been in for a long, long time. Now, look, I'm not advocating getting rid of your friends. I am loyal. There's a lot of people out there that are like, well, if you want to grind, if you really want to grind, you got to cut loose your family and friends that's not my thing. I'm too loyal for that. But what you do got to do is you got to find a way to incorporate new blood into your social circles. You got to find a way. If you want to make more money, you got to start hanging out with people that make more money in some form or fashion. If you want to get into shape, go to the gym and be around people that are doing that. That doesn't mean that you stop hanging out with your fat Uncle Marvin or whatever. Sorry to all the Marvins that may have just heard that. But it doesn't mean you're going to cut those people off. You just need to find new blood to incorporate into your life. I'm too loyal for that. I'm kind of over that whole cut out everybody that's not a fan and cheering you forward. You still love those people. You just got to find some other people that do that thing. A lot of us get stuck being that thing that other people tell us that we are, and we get so comfortable with it. And we're so happy that somebody just sees us sometimes that we don't care how they see us. We'll just accept it and we'll live within those guidelines that they have set for us just simply because they at least see us. And that's better than not being seen at all, especially if you come from a background where you feel like people haven't seen you. You're willing to be shit on all the time just for the sake of somebody seeing you enough to shit on you instead of just not seeing you at all. Some of us are happy to be looked down on because we're at least looked at. That's sad. So it was just kind of a weird moment for me as I was driving away, realizing that, it is a difficult thing sometimes to reinvent yourself and become something new when you're living in an old environment, when you're living within your old social circles. Sometimes you have to change that thing, those people. You got to change what that looks like in order to change who you are and who you want to become. So, if you're looking back and saying, hey, I don't know why I'm still the same person I was 5 years ago, assess your groups, assess your relationships, assess the new blood and see if there is any. And if there's not, there's a good chance that's the reason why you are still the same today as you were 5 years ago.